Alright, guys. This is Patch Analysis 2.1.0. Overview. Glossary added. Nightshade replaced with bleeding. So now Cult and Unseen both get bleeding. There's no more poisons? Come on. Why? Bewilder replaced with Distract. Icy Touch now works like Distract. Occupation and Redirect immunity removed from several classes. Oh yeah? Abilities can no longer bypass Occupation and Redirect immunity. Redirection immunity. Mystic and Illusionist gained it. Frame and Mind Warp mechanic changes. Chronomancer mechanic changes. Happy Hour reworked. Prevention abilities, like Mercenary Stand Guard, now occupy all visitors instead of preventing them. So they went back to occupy instead of prevent. Alchemist reworked. Hunter reworked. Mastermind reworked. If the starting Mastermind dies, the Assassin will replace them. Didn't I say this yesterday? King's allies changed. New armors. Okay, so let's just go over this real quick. Abilities can no longer bypass Occupation and Redirect immunity. So Court Wizard, you can no longer bypass. I'm assuming you can no longer empower support classes to bypass Ock. Butler Wine can't be swapped. You can't redirect a Hunter's Wolf. Bewilder replaced with Distract, and Icy Touch now works like Distract. So you're no longer chilled for the day, but it's basically like that, because Icy Touch is for the whole day, right? Unless, like, Icy Touch is only distracting you for 20 seconds. Okay, well, let's just keep going. I want to see what this glossary is as well, too. Store content. 2 new armors. One is a male golden armor for people with too much gold to spend. A female version of the gold armor will be coming out in the next few days. Uh-huh. Okay. Quality of life. Glossary added with key mechanics defined. More info will likely be added to it later. Underlined words in chat and the class cards can be clicked on to open up the page of the glossary containing the mechanic. You can turn this off in the setting in the lobby. So, I'm assuming if it says you are occupied, you can click on occupied and it'll tell you the classes that could occupy you. Just like a glossary of mechanics. Or it just tells you what occupy is. General. Framed players will now only appear suspicious to the Blue Dragon class. Does King count? Because he's not really Blue Dragon. I mean, he could be a Blue Dragon King, but like... I wonder if King counts. Reworded abilities that do not count as visiting. If the starting Mastermind dies, the Assassin will replace them. This replaces the old replacement mechanic. Okay. So this is like permanent. Every new Assassin will turn into the Mastermind if you find the Mastermind. So it's like Cult. Players can no longer edit their logs while on trial or while being executed. Only the OG assassin? So if the OG assassin dies and then the mastermind dies, it doesn't matter. So he can't mess around and just get himself killed. The starting assassin will replace them. Okay, so yeah, that makes more sense. So if the starting assassin dies and then the mastermind dies, you won't get a replacement mastermind. You actually have to keep your starting assassin alive, so you can't just YOLO anymore. You can't just sacrifice yourself, you can't get busts, stuff like that. Change distract icon to bewilder icon. Mastermind should never suicide either. Alright. Good to know. Good to know. Framed players will now only appear suspicious to Blue Dragon classes. I mean, what else does this go for? Are we talking like Inquisitors trying to find a heathen and they're framed to make it look like they are a heathen? Was that work? Like that? I don't know. I don't know, I guess we'll look more into it later. Alright, minor class ability changes. Apostle and Illusionist. Mind Warp now makes anyone target player investigates appear framed to them. Why are these so hard to read? So Mind Warp now just makes them look framed. Mind Warp used to, if you were to heal somebody that was bleed/poisoned, now only bleeding. So if somebody was bleeding and you tried to heal them, and you Mind Warped the healer, it would say, did not receive. Or vice versa. Or if you Mind Warped a butler and they got a success on somebody, it would show up as immune. They now made it change to frame, so they would only be not suspicious or cult/unseen. Butler, renamed Nightshade Wine to Poisoned Wine. Concentrated wine no longer bypasses Occupy immunity. So your party no longer protects you from getting killed by a possessor or an Occ-immune class. Hey, Stoned. Court Wizard and Sage. Tornado no longer bypasses redirect immunity. Okay, so the Court Wizard has been brought back to its old self, where every single Court Wizard would swap the Prince, and it would kill the Prince because Occ-immune classes would just kill him. But as it said earlier, they have removed a lot of Occupy immune classes. Well, they haven't removed the class, but they've removed the Occ immunity from the class. So, I guess we'll just wait and see what else they removed. Enforcer. Standguard will now occupy all visitors to target unseen members. So it's still a single target. It's not all unseen members. It's unseen member. I'm assuming this does not bypass Occ immunities. Isn't that what Standguard did before? It prevented everyone from visiting? I guess they're just rewording prevented to occupy again. That's why they did that. And I guess you can't occupy a butler trying to occupy the assassin if you stand guard, so it's okay. But then it doesn't really matter because you could just Frenzy, and Frenzy still bypasses Occ immunity, unless you can't bypass the Frenzy Occ. I don't even know. Evil King. Allies will now tell you the target player's class type and whether they are an ally or not. So now they get special, special or killer. So you can now actually know who the mastermind is, rather than just finding an ally. Oh, it also tells you what class type the BD are. Because as Evil King, you got their faction. You got either BD, neutral, or evil. Whereas a Good King... Well, never mind. Scratch that. Fool, no longer Awk immunity. Okay, Fool's no longer Awk immune. Amazing. Good King. Allies will now tell you the target player's class type. Special classes will appear as investigative. Okay, that makes sense. Because, like, if you find a special class, you just kill them anyways. Okay. So, Good King... Is that an add-on to it? Do you still find not ally, or is Good King only tell you the class type? You no longer see allies. Okay. So the Good King only sees the class type, whereas the Evil King can see all factions and class type. That's really strong. Oh boy. Inquisitor. Removed Nobody Expects the Spanish Inquisition passive. If you don't know what the Expect the Spanish Inquisition passive was, it was... None of your abilities count as visits. So now you actually count as visiting people. Invoker. Replace Bewilder with Distract. Still has one use. Can now force players to target themselves with strings of Mithras. I guess you could never redirect to yourself, but now you can. I guess you can force healers on you or something. Made. Improved how frame interacts with matchmake. Okay. I wish they told you, like, what, but I'm assuming you would get compatible with incompatible and vice versa. Mercenary. Stand guard now occupies all visitors to target. That don't have Awk immunity. But they removed a lot, again, as I said, so... Everyone's just gonna get occupied all the time. Oh, you can force players to target themselves. Oh, so you can force a Reaper to attack himself. Huh. Okay. Got you, got you. And now force players to target themselves. I thought it meant target themselves as you can target the Invoker. But that makes more sense, okay. You can't reap yourself, but you'll still target yourself, making you not reap anyone else, which is really good. Mystic and Illusionist now are Awk immune. I'm gonna make it simple for you. I'm not gonna say redirection immune to, because it's the same thing, basically. If you have one, you have the other. Observer. Following a framed player will now show them visiting a player that died that night, if possible. They actually coded that? Wow. Slow clap. That's gonna be kind of annoying. Poacher. No longer Awk immune. Spike traps now occupy the target and everyone visiting them. Can now target allies with spike traps. So I guess You kind of like risk it where you spike trap your assassin. You would occupy your assassin, but nobody could visit them. I don't know if that's worth, honestly. I mean, you could definitely save your assassin for another day, but I'm sure like knowing BD, they'd execute it anyways. Like I was oct visiting this person. I mean, you could assassin could claim Butler maybe, and just claim that he partied. I don't know. Possessor, no longer Ock immune. The description for puppet strings in the class card has been updated. Oh boy. I guess Possessor had the best win rate. It was like 20%, right? So they're trying to reduce Possessor's win rate. I guess 20% is pretty strong. I feel like 15% may be good for all neutral killers. I don't know how much this Ock-immune is gonna change the win rate of this class, though. We'll find out. You can now debauch a Possessor jump. Yikes. Position. Removed references to Nightshade from abilities. Passive and Inoculate will not protect them against the Butler's poison. Wait, the Butler poison can now poison a physician? I guess that's if you step up to be king, you can still get Butler poison. And if you inoculate someone who becomes king, you can still get Butler poison. I think that's what they mean by that. Because normally, if you had your passives, and you stepped up to be king, you still had those passives. So it's kind of really good to have a physician step up to be king because they couldn't get poisoned in the end game and just die. Like normal kings who step up to be. And the passive only protects you from bleeds now. Whereas the Butler is the only class that has a poison. I don't know. It's interesting. Pretender, replace Silence with Distract. Still has 2 uses. So Silence was removing his day abilities for the day or something like that, where he can't use his abilities for the day. Now he's just distracted. For 20 seconds, I'm assuming. Psycho King is now bleed immune, but not poison immune. The description for Fatal Guards has been updated. Okay. Reaper, Icy Touch now works like Distract, but will only cost 1 soul. Marvelous. I wonder if you can use Distract twice. Or Icy Touch twice in a day. There's a lot of Distract and no disabled abilities. But Distract disables your abilities for the 20 seconds. I don't know, it's interesting. Ritualist, teleportation no longer bypasses redirection immunity, as stated. Okay. Sage, occupies all visitors to the target except the assassin. So, prevents everyone from visiting that target except the assassin. Score, no longer Ock immune. Framed, renamed to Incriminate. Incriminate? Oh boy. Okay. At least Scorn still has their death immunity. Yeah, this is definitely for the firewall. They didn't really specify that Sage had that this ability was for firewall, but that is what it is for. Oh, excuse me. Sellsword. Stonewall now occupies all visitors to the target except for those attacking or converting them. So they're just renaming the prevent to occupies. It's the only change there. We'll now know how many people they occupy with the stone wall. So Sellsword can actually officially claim mercenary. And get away with it. Unless they die, you can't really say you blocked them. Servant. Remove Bewilder. Bewilder, if you didn't know, was not being able to use your day ability as king. Concentrated Y no longer bypasses Immunity. So your party no longer bypasses. It used to work like if you partied and a drunk happy houred you, the drunk would still get occupied. I think depending on where they are on the list, if the drunk is below the butler. Okay, major class ability changes. Alchemist. Prepared passive removed, so you no longer get your Night 1 Stone Skin. And now you have to use your Night 1 Stone Skin. Stone Skin Potion now has 3 uses, so you went from 2 uses plus the Night 1 automatically to having 3 to use whenever you feel like. So you no longer always have to use your Stone Skin Potion Night 1 and then result to only having 2 for the rest of the game. Concoct Potion removed. Now just has Crimson Potion and Emerald Potion as night abilities. So they removed your Tar, and they removed your Truth Potion. You are back to healing and bombing again. Crimson Potion has unlimited uses. Emerald Potion only has 2 uses, so you can't bomb 3 people. Class type changed back to support. So they basically rolled back the Alchemist back to its original state, original form. I honestly am okay with this change. I didn't really like Alchemist being special investigative in the first place. The only thing they did that was for Masterminds to actually claim something other than Princess and Sheriff, but they still never did it anyways. The one thing that they didn't roll back was their bleed and poison immunes, so you can still bleed an Alchemist. Assassin. New passive Apprentice. If the Mastermind dies, the starting Assassin will take their place. Replace Nightshade with Lacerate. Lacerate causes bleeding instead of poison. Out the ass. Chronomancer. Distort reality now transfers all delayed deaths to another player. Target player will not be notified. Wasn't that how it was before? Except for they just weren't notified? I don't even know. Distort reality can now be used immediately after delaying a death with Time Warp. Oh, so you don't have to wait until they die on the second night. Distort Reality's description in the class card now specifies that it is not an attack. You can now use it immediately after delaying the death, but I still think you can wait until the second day when they actually die. It's interesting. Mastermind, no longer Immune, will no longer be hidden from investigations for the first 3 nights. Unseen just got the biggest nerf ever. No longer hidden from investigations. Wow. Drunk and alcoholic. Happy hour has been changed. It will now force the target player to target themselves. Huh. So it no longer bypasses because there's no autoimmunes basically in this game anymore. And last but not least, Hunter. Both passives have been removed. No longer unique. So, if you vote up a Hunter and he's a Hunter and you execute, you will no longer get an arrow to the knee. And you are no longer autoimmune. You are no longer unique, so you can have multiple Hunters now. Wolf Companion has been made a day ability. Still 2 uses, not usable until day 3. So you can wolf people during the day. Do they die that night? So instead of wolfing them at the end of the night and then having a whole day to talk about it and then healing, you do it during the day and then they die. So it's like you're cutting off potentially half the day because you can wolf them at like 5 seconds left into the... Wolf is 2 days. Or 2 nights. Okay. New night ability, Hunter's Mark. Target 2 players. If the first player targets the second, you will occupy and attack them. If you kill a BD, you will lose the use of this ability. 4 uses, not usable until night 3. Yeah, that's... Hunter's like a super knight. I don't know about that ability, honestly. We're gonna have to test it out. If you kill a BD, you only use 1 of this ability. You have 4 uses. So if a paladin test faiths some physician, and he visits, you're gonna occupy the paladin, and then kill him. Or if he smites the physician, you occupy the paladin and kill the paladin, and then the physician gets converted because he visited. Oh, you read it as you lose the ability completely. Because it says you'll lose the use of this ability. I thought it was like a use. 4 uses. But that makes sense. Okay, so if you... It's like Prince Execute. If you kill a BD, you lose. You can't do this anymore. I'm sure they can get healed by it, though. I'm sure they could get healed by it. It'll be fine. Oh, boy. Alright, give me a minute to think about this. Let's look at the new armors. The golden ones. That's not a golden chest. 50k? It looks horrible. Why'd they have to put like a helmet on it? Sorry, there it is. Yeah. I don't know if I want to go under 100k. I'll buy it when it costs, when I'm at, you know, 150k. That's it, right? There's no, like, titles or anything? Oh. No Death Note colors? It'll be a female one, so I can spend 100k on it. Yeah, that's a yikes. That's a no-go for me. So, Evil Cult seem like they have been buffed out the ass with the Evil King allies. Good King kinda sucks now. Inquisitor's gonna get wrecked. Possessor is gonna lose his win percentage from like 20%. I'd say to like 12, maybe even 10%. I don't know. I feel like this is gonna make it worse than the Sorcerer. I think the Sorcerer may actually win. They didn't even do anything to the Sorc. Psycho King is bleed immune. That's cool. I mean, you can still get Butler shaded. Reaper kinda got nerfed, but it only costs 1 soul, so it's alright. I still want to know if you can use 2 distracts in one day. Everyone, like, basically loses their Awk immunity. Alchemist has been rolled back. I like it. It's missing its bleed immunes, but it's fine. Assassin becoming new mastermind if the mastermind dies. Even if your mastermind dies day 6 in court and your first assassin is still alive, your first assassin will now turn into the mastermind. Chronomancer got a good buff. I like the Chronomancer's buff. Mastermind got nerfed hella hard. You can now just be found night 1, and you can now just get occupied. Happy Hour now just targets himself. Hunter's strange. I like that you can wolf during the day, but the new ability is kind of weird. I don't know, I have to see how that goes. Pretender replaced with Distract. I feel like that's okay. Removing your day abilities for the day, or like not being able to use your day abilities for the day, was whatever. You can now spike traps your assassin to occupy everyone else visiting him. Interesting. Mystic is now Awk immune. Frames have been crazy buffed right now. Mind Warp has been changed to a frame now, so that I like that. All in all, like, this patch isn't that bad, but honestly, only time will tell, and the games played will let us know. It's going to be quite difficult to go based off of what I'm seeing here. They've done a lot of reworks, and they've basically changed the game, but I'd say it doesn't really matter that much to me myself, because I'm here for the deduction, I'm here to deduce, and I'm here to YOLO bomb people as an alchemist. You know, it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna convert people, or I'm gonna get converted, or I'm gonna kill people on stand. I'm here to deduce. Changing the game doesn't really change the way that I play. I'm gonna play the same. I'm just gonna adapt. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed my patch analysis 2.1.0.